This episode is brought to you by ERC, Employee Retention Credit. They specialize in getting money back for your business. Receive up to $26,000 per employee. It only takes 10 minutes to see if you qualify. Go to my website at lopezlasane.com, and on the top of my website, click the tab that says Get Money Back, or click the link in the bio. So don't wait on this. And the best part about this, it's absolutely free. No fees up front. You have nothing to lose. So go to my website or click the link in the bio and get started today. Welcome to another episode coming at you from kingofcashflowwebsites.com. I'm your host, Lopez. So like and share this episode. So today I have a wonderful guest. She's a CEO and co-founder of 2XU, an outsourcing company that specializes in hiring, managing, and growing remote executive assistants for solopreneurs and small business owners. My special guest today is Leah Lacaba. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. Very happy to be here.
Okay. So where are you from?
From the Philippines. Halfway across the world, literally.
Okay. So how did you get started online, and when did you get started online?
So I started online when I was 15 years old. This was way back in 2011. I'm now 27. And it just started out as someone kind of messaging me wanting like, hey, I like the way that you write your blogs. Can you be a ghostwriter for me? And I was like, what's ghostwriting? But yeah, sure. I'll figure it out. Let's get started. At that time, working online wasn't even really a thing. I had figured out a lot of things myself, including like setting up PayPal. PayPal in the Philippines wasn't really that legal, or not really legal, but connected yet. It was hard to get a bank account. So it was all of these setup work basically to be able to start working online. But since then, I've gotten like multiple gigs. I did graphic work, video editing work, almost anything with content I had a hand in. And then when I was 18, I survived a traumatic basically just category 5 typhoon where I almost died in my own home. So I'm like, you know what? I am going to run with it. I'm going to find my path instead of going through the what I would call the usual Asian route of becoming either a lawyer, doctor, or accountant. And I kind of chose pursuing this life. And then I published my own book, then started working full-time for a publishing company, which was the first time I had a full-time work, and fell in love with marketing, fell in love with building things and building assets. And now it got to the point where I became CEO of that company because I was like, sure, why not? I'll figure it as I go, as I usually do. And then at 23, I was like, okay, I want to start something from scratch. I want to start a business from scratch. I want to be able to provide jobs for Filipinos. So how do I do that? Okay, I build a business where people will hire Filipinos. So then 2XU came about as a service because we had a product called 2XU for how to hire virtual assistant course. Someone said, I like what you guys do. Can you just do this for me? I don't want to do it myself. And then that's kind of 3.5 years later of running 2XU. It's been me doing the thing that I love doing, which is working with amazing people, working on a lot of marketing and content creation, and as well as being able to create those jobs for Filipinos.
That's great. So how did you know to even come online? Because back in the day, I remember that if you told someone you were doing anything online, basically they would say, "Yo, it's a scam." So how did you even know?
Well, I've always kind of semi-prided myself as being very much an early adopter. And around that time that I got my first job, my dad just bought me a laptop because I was going to start college soon. So I was like exploring everything online. I forgot how I got to Blogspot because that was my first blog. forgot how I got onto it. I think I was seeing someone else that was following. Facebook was just starting to rise. I had my Facebook account for less than a year at that point, and I kind of just started figuring things out. I kind of like adopted and kind of saw, oh, this is how that works. Okay, and then researching how other people have figured it out, which is most of how I do things.
Gotcha. So how'd you know you could, how'd you have the confidence to even start a company? Because most people kind of shy away. They, oh, it's too much work. I don't know if I can do it. You know, we hear all the excuses. So how did you even have the confidence that you could even do it?
Well, at 23, I was following a ton of really good mentors, a lot of really amazing entrepreneurs. Gary Vaynerchuk being the main one that I remember inhaling his content. And one of the things he always says is, use your 20s as a way for you to test anything about yourself, so then you know your limits going forward in life. So that's basically what I did. I was like, okay, I've built so far a really good career working from home. What else can I do? And then at that point I've already started 4 or 5 more businesses. Before that, I started like a book lending service. I started now I can sell secondhand books, and I had a really successful book subscription box for a year. I had to stop it because I was traveling around so much that I couldn't send the boxes anymore. So before 2XU, I was already experimenting. I was already seeing like, will people be interested in this or interested in that? As kind of applying the skills that I've been learning working from home.
Gotcha. So, so that's what made you go the VA route. I guess you kind of found your niche, or your kind of like your comfort zone or whatever.
Well, being a virtual assistant was kind of a good culmination of almost everything that I've been doing myself as an entrepreneur. Like virtual assistant was one of the jobs I never got into, but one of the things that when I was looking into it, like, it makes sense that people will start as a virtual assistant when they're working from home, because it teaches you all of these skills. So for the agency, it was kind of the natural thing of like, I originally wanted to do content marketing agency. That was kind of the thing, because I was already doing YouTube, was doing already a writer. And then my co-founder and I kind of went to like, okay, there's already a lot of people who are creating content agencies, but not a virtual assistant agency where they'll take care of the consulting part, of the strategy part. And I'm like, okay, so we can dive into this. And it became kind of where 2XU is now.
So what is a VA? Just in case someone might be listening, like, what the heck is a VA anyway? So what is a VA?
So a virtual assistant primarily is someone the way that I like describing it is, in the day-to-day of being an entrepreneur, there's always going to be things that are vital tasks, the things that you have to get done to move things forward in your business, and functional tasks. Things are more operational, more admin. They need to get done to get things moving, but they're not necessarily towards growth. So as a perfect example, for you as a podcaster, you showing up for these podcasts, that's your vital task. But the rest, booking guests, replying to them, making sure that they show up to the right vidyard, making sure that they are, after the podcast, that they know when their podcast episode is coming out, promoting it, creating, repurposing all the content. That is what a virtual assistant can do. It's not to say that they can do everything else in your business, but they can do the minor stuff of taking care of you, supporting you, so you can show up for those vital tasks. So because people usually think, virtual assistant, they only do calendar management, inbox management, but they can be so much more than that if you build a good relationship and systems behind them as well.
Gotcha. So who's your ideal client today? Is it small businesses, big businesses? Is it tech, or companies in the tech space, or who is it?
So far, like recently, just because we've upgraded a lot of things into 2XU, it's definitely the solopreneur who has some team, but they don't have their own virtual assistant yet. And it's mostly service-based businesses, like their consultants, their authors, their coaches. Those are the people that we've been mainly liking working with, mostly because it's easy for us to create the systems around them. Just because when we first started getting our first round of clients, it was mostly service-based entrepreneurs as well. So, but it's ideally that of like, okay, you've built a business to a point where you know how to make money, you're making revenue. You might have hired a few people to help you with delivery, but you don't have an assistant to help you get on track.
Gotcha. So how did the books come about? Because this is, I have I have 3 books as well. Now, writing is my favorite thing to do. So how did the books come about?
Same thing as you. Writing is one of my favorite things to do.
Okay.
Probably not part of my vital tasks all the time. Sometimes I do it just for fun, but it's something that for me, when I learn something, I have to write it down, or else I'll forget it, even if I watch the video 10, 20 times over. And it's the same thing with just how I process things. I write things down. So writing up books has been kind of one of the greater pleasures, because like, hey, this actually will get seen by someone. This will help someone have the clarity on the decisions they're going to move forward. So that's kind of how all of that started about.
And your YouTube channel as well. How did that come about? I like your channel, by the way.
Thank you. So the channel was, so I started out doing more videos because I'm very shy introvert about 4 years ago. I wouldn't say that anymore. And I was terrified of public speaking. I would literally not be able to eat, or else I'll vomit right before doing a speaking gig. And videos seem to be a natural thing to get off of that fear, because I'm just talking to my phone. And it started with my sisters asking me, like, at that point we were 16, 17. I have 2 sisters, and they were asking like, hey, how did you do this when you were younger? How did you find jobs when you were younger? So I would literally just whip out my phone. Any time that they had a question, I would whip out my phone and answer it. And then I did 1 video a day for 100 days. So in my Facebook page, I have like 120 videos. And then it started out like, hey, I can do this for longer content, because I was only doing 5 minutes of video that tested out on YouTube. So that it became more on YouTube. During the pandemic, of course, my videos started popping off, because I was all about how to work from home, how to find jobs from home. And now it's kind of shifted into how to have a remote business. Like I do both sides now, of how to become a virtual assistant and how to hire and manage a virtual assistant. And so far it's been really, really fun.
So speaking of the pandemic, were you virtual before the pandemic? Or how did the pandemic affect your business? Or if at all?
Not at all, because I got my first client for 2XU October 2019. Hired my first person February of 2020. It took us a while to find someone good for the client base. Of course, it was our first client. We were figuring a lot of systems out. And of course, everything shut down March of 2020. So 2XU technically has always been remote. And even before that, like I always never wanted to work in an office. I've only really worked in an office like for 3 months when I was taking a on-the-job training. That was the only time that I had an office job, but most of it has been working remote. So during the pandemic, it was not really much of an adjustment. It was just an adjustment for the people we were hiring. We were able to give them like the guidance and okay, how to keep productive, the key habits you can do, so on and so forth.
Gotcha. So have you spoken in front of large audiences?
Oh yeah. Literally, I was counting it today. I did 7 speaking gigs already in quarter 1, closing out. I just did one yesterday. Yesterday, I even had, it was all Zoom though, so I kind of counted, kind of don't. We had 190 people in the Zoom room, but in February, I did 2 speaking gigs, where one was in Thailand, where I spoke in front of like 200 people, and one was here in my city, where there was like 300 people. So I've been getting around since the pandemic is kind of opening itself out.
That's good. I haven't. Hey, let me ask you a question. Are you tired of struggling online, not getting the results you want? Maybe you just need some help. If that's the case, go to kingofcashflowwebsites.com/secrets. And the best part about it, you can learn from the best of the best. You can learn from some of the best marketers in the world. Plus, it's absolutely free. It's absolutely free. So don't wait on this. Go to kingofcashflowwebsites.com/secrets. Back to our red schedule program. I think the most I've ever spoken in front of is just over 100. Yeah, no more than, and I'm always nervous. You never get over that.
Until now. Until now, I'm still nervous right before, even if it's a Zoom one.
Yeah, it's never I don't know. Someone told me if you're not just a little bit nervous, something's wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's
So
something missing.
yeah, that's what I've been told. They say you never get over, just speaking in front of someone for the first time. But I've
Mhm.
noticed that once I get started, everything the nervousness
You
goes
just,
away.
yeah, you just know that you just have to get through it.
Yeah. Yeah. So you have a new book coming out soon,
I
right?
do. So I'm I was hoping to finish it this quarter, but I got taken away by so many other amazing projects, AI namely, which is one of the reasons why. So the book that I'm writing is basically how to successfully hire your first virtual assistant. So if someone's never done it before, it's like a complete guide that I've written out. And the reason why I add AI in there is now that with ChatGPT and all of the other AI tools that have been coming out, I've been rewriting parts of it of like, hey, you can use AI to write, the job description. You can use AI to create the skills test of how you're going to make sure that the VA actually has the skills you need. So I've kind of rewriting it a little bit in the background and using it as a reason at the same time to procrastinate and not finish it.
Yeah. Gotcha. So what when it comes to being online today, and you've been online for a long time. You came online around the same time that I came on, basically. Do you think it's much easier today than it used to be back in the day
Oh
when it
yeah.
comes to yeah, go ahead.
It is, but also it might feel like I like the analogy of a water pipe drowning through your nose, because there's so much information of how to get started, how to do it. The quick. Rich schemes of like I saw the other day that someone's saying like, oh, for 2 hours on ChatGPT you can make $200, and I'm like, how can you really? So there's like things like that all the time now. So it is
Yeah.
easier, but
Yeah.
you have to learn how to filter and sort out the things that are
Oh yeah.
just fluff.
Yeah.
That they, if you go to that on your resume, it looks weird because you've only did that for 2 months, because 2 months after that it was already gone. So it is easier, but it's that filter that you have to learn.
Yeah, I remember. I always tell people Amazon really changed the game, because the reason why I say that is because back in the day, when it came to affiliate products or just selling anybody's products, man, they would pay you whenever they felt like it, if ever. And then when Amazon came, Amazon basically changed the whole landscape of online. Yeah. People started kind of like saying, okay, we gotta step our game up. We gotta have standards now. But one thing that hasn't changed is you have the people make big promises and don't deliver, and people sell anything. So like back in the day, people used to sell anything and people would buy, but you can't get away with a lot of that stuff today like you used to back then.
Can't anymore. It's there's reviews, there's TikToks going viral talking about your product and why they shouldn't buy it. So it's a much more, again, that filter. People have kind of learned how to use that filter of like, hey, I don't think this is a good product, or I don't think this is a fit for me, or hey, this is something I want to have.
Yeah. So how do you find your prospects or your ideal client? Is it online mostly, offline, or do these people find you the majority of the time, or what?
It's been a mix. So for most of the time, we do have a business partner. We've 2X is partnered up with one of the bigger accelerator programs in Australia. So then we've been getting referrals from there. Other parts is, of course, clients refer us to their friends or the people that they know. And then for social media, it's only really started like, I think, last year that I've consistently been getting leads from like YouTube or from like the content that we post on Instagram or LinkedIn. So it's been a good mix. Like that's kind of like where I love creating content, because then whenever someone thinks like, hey, I want to work with 2XU, they look at our website like, oh, they have a ton of content where I can learn from. It kind of creates that trust and confidence in working with us.
Gotcha. So if you had to start all over today, And with everything that you know right now, would you do anything different?
Oh yeah. Mostly on mostly on the systems on taking care of people. That was kind of where I didn't really have a lot of experience on. Even though when I ran the publishing company, it was easy because like people were assigned a book, they weren't really assigned to just one author. I could take care of them in that systematized way. But when it 2XU was such a different landscape of having to take care of people's training, having to take care of people's making sure that they're good, that they're not overloaded, that they're not being felt left alone. That was one of the things that, as I was kind of winging it for most of the first year and a half of growing 2XU, that I do like, shoot, I should have been able to do this and that. But of course, I didn't know what I didn't know. I didn't know that I had to take care of. I'll put up like policies and systems in place to make sure that people felt that there was something to fall back on if things didn't grow basically as they should be. So that'll be the biggest one, is putting in the right systems to make sure people felt taken care of even as we started scaling.
Gotcha. So this book is going to be focused more on marketing, right?
It's the one that I'm writing now is mostly on how to hire and manage. The next one I'm focusing on is more of how to leverage basically your brand, and also like having your VA follow through with that. Like kind of 2xing you, which is our company name, 2xing you itself. So the first one is going to be just about the hiring and managing. The second one is about 2xing you.
Gotcha. So if people wanted to follow you and work with you, where would they go to?
The best is just on my YouTube and also LinkedIn. Those are two main places that we post a ton of content on. And of course, our website has all of our blogs, and we're going to start putting on also promoting the YouTube videos on there soon. We're upgrading everything else. So yeah, those would be the best places.
There you have it. Like, share this episode. Tell me what you think below. Until next time, we're out. Peace.